Now, I had to buy this the day it was released, and since then I've carried it pretty extensively, used it on a regular basis, and it is the pocket knife that we're going to be discussing today. To really get the answer to the question, is this the working man's pocket knife that we have been begging ESEE to make for years? Or is it a design that when you start to carry it like I have, you begin to wonder if this would have been something you would have been more excited about a decade ago. And so I have several pros and cons I want to share with you today on the ESEE Expat Medellin, I've heard it pronounced several different ways, Mark II 2.0. I actually reviewed the original, I believe, frame lock variant many years ago, so to see an updated version got me really pumped. That's why I went out immediately and pulled the trigger, and now, having carried it, we're really gonna discover what it brings to the table compared to some heavy-hitting competitive options. So, welcome back, all you regular viewers. If you're new to the channel, I'm Aaron, this is Gideonstactical. Let's dive in and talk some blades. So, forgot where I had left my coffee. Now, I wanna kick things off with the first pro, and that is the blade shape, profile, and performance. Now, the idea with this blade, in their kind of description that I read, at least off of Knife Center's description, is that they kind of designed it to be, you know, a world traveler of a pocket knife. So compact enough that you can carry it just about anywhere. You can kind of slip under some blade restriction lengths and different things like that. So this is from handle to tip about 2 5/8 of an inch. So that's how long it is. We got a full sweeping belly on a full flat grind, just under 1/8 of an inch thick, and it is sporting S35 VN steel, one of my favorite well-rounded stainless steels before MagnaCut was on the scene. So you're getting a well-rounded, it's rust resistant, it's durable, you can resharpen it without a lot of effort, and it holds a good edge. They did a 60 HRC, claim 60, so that's excellent. All those things really coming together means that this is a slicer. They really did a good job with the edge geometry. It's uncoated, so you don't have to worry about that if you're doing food prep, you know, doing tomatoes and limes and fruit and all that stuff. You can use it that way. And I put it mainly through basic utility back here at the Blade Boot Camp for you guys, but I've been EDCing it, just using it in all kinds of different ways. It can get some basic bushcraft tasks done. You know, feather stick making, it's decent at. We'll get into how that may be a con with ergonomics and things in a little bit. But you can absolutely do that. Some light notching, things of that nature. It does have a 90-degree spine to be able to throw some sparks if you had to. And if the blade shape of an ESEE Azula or Azula 2 is pretty familiar to you and you like how those knives perform, you're actually going to be pretty confident in how this Expat folder works, but even more impressed with its slicing capability because it's not coated and it is thinner at just under 1/8 of an inch thick. Now, there was one small caveat before we get to the con on the blade. It did not have a symmetrical tip. It was definitely ground off pretty significantly to one side. But as I stated, S35 VN isn't that difficult to work with. So I just busted out my Work Sharp guided field sharpener. I believe it's this one. I have a couple about over a decade ago. We're actually resharpened tons of ESEE knives over the years, and it's cool to have them as a regular sponsor. And so while I was working with this knife, I decided to reprofile the blade. So started with the coarse and just really kind of working that tip to one side. Probably took me a minute and a half to really kind of work it over without much difficulty, without, you know, screwing up the whole grind or anything like that, and just kind of honed it. Now, a little pro tip, if you have a pencil eraser of any kind, it's good to have like one of those bricks, but I just used the pencil that was laying around from the kids' schoolwork. You can remove the metal particles off of your ceramic rods without much issue. And so mine was getting pretty dirty, so I just kind of rubbed that on there for just a minute. It'll make it a little easier to sharpen and hone. So I resharpened this thing after all of the work that we're seeing in this video, just to kind of kick in that tip, and now it is way more symmetrical. And was that not that difficult to do? Now, can you do it with a river rock? No, you will need some sort of diamond stone or something like that to do something like that, but something small and pocket size like a Work Sharp can definitely get it done. Now to the first con, which is more of an aesthetic thing than anything else, but the cons start to escalate from here. But one thing that was pretty annoying to me, and I know it's annoying for a lot of you guys, is the branding is massive. This thing feels like a billboard. Now, I know it's a small blade, but I mean, we could have put expat, cut that size in half, shrunk it down kind of over in the corner. It's unnecessary. I mean, like, lots of other folders have way more toned down branding and stamps everywhere. So it would have just kind of helped with the aesthetics a little bit and wouldn't have felt like someone just spray painted and tagged the entire knife. Maybe I'm overreacting, so leave comments below on if you agree or disagree with my opinion on that front. Now, swinging back to a pro, we got a crossbar lock. I'm happy about that. Swinging away from liner locks and frame locks, and I feel like the locks were never quite right. Either they were sharp. I remember one frame lock, it might have been the predecessor to this one, was very sharp. The transition was very thin and kind of not comfortable. I just didn't carry the knife. I would rather have carried a Rat Model 1 or 2. You know, it was just easier that way. And so to go to a crossbar lock system, this thing works great, no issues. Now that flows right into the next con, which is that they chose ball bearings for the pivot instead of bronze washers. Now, when I think of ball bearings, honestly, I think usually of pocket jewelry in most cases. I prefer washers on my more hard-use knives, and that's kind of the whole branding and idea of ESEE Knives. Like, go out in the jungle, explore, travel the world. Even this idea of this knife kind of follows through with that, of like what it's intended to do. And when you look at ball bearings, yes, the action is super buttery smooth, and I mean, it flies back and forth, but they tend to get mucked up with gunk because there are gaps. So if you're using it in hard, you know, more gritty environments, you may be having to do more maintenance with this, and they tend to have more play. And this definitely has some blade wobble side to side, and I've tightened it down, and within, you know, a couple minutes of me opening and close like 10 times, we're back to some like on the blade, and that play leads to a lot of blade slap. That is the blade banging back and forth between the liners. And I mean, I've tightened this thing down. It means I'm going to now have to like bust out Loctite and play around with it and try and like dial in this like perfect amount that hopefully gives me enough action that I can open and close it easily and not have it smacking and kind of giving me this rattle. So to the handle. Now the pro is that they chose micarta, green micarta. I love it. Just looks really, really good. It's compact, relatively lightweight. They did stainless steel liners that are not milled. So, I mean, you got some like density, rigidinosity. That's a new word I'm putting it. Keeping it in. Half an inch thick at about its maximum thickness. And they actually kind of contour everything. And it even has a little bit of a swell back here. All great. Love it. Zero complaints with that part of the design. You got a little bit of jimp, not overly aggressive. I mean, it's there. I felt it once or twice, and we got a pretty good guard right here, you know, for different grips and things of that nature. As I'm about to hit this con with you, what do you think I'm going to say here? The handle is 3.5 inches. Now, if you've been following the channel for any period of time, I wear large size gloves, and I have 3.25 knuckle span when we measure this right here. Like that, right? So what that means is if this is 3.5, with the actual grip point from guard to where you start to fall off is 3 inches. So what do you think that's going to mean? My pinky is barely holding on for dear life. So, I mean, I'm not Goliath, you know, I'm not like fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. I mean, when a Rat Model 2, which is not a big knife, dwarfs your handle dimensions, that's saying something. And when I was doing like light cardboard and things like that, you don't notice it quite a lot because you're putting a lot of your grip, you know, right here on the pinch point. Like, okay. But when you start bearing down, you know, going through a hose. Okay, I am like fighting to try and keep my pinky on and not right up over that guard. So basically I have to commit now to basically a 3-finger right there. Or if I go hammer grip style, it's kind of doable, but way better pocket knives out there to do that with. Follow the path of the ESEE 2 handle. The blade is short, the handle is big, giving you good ergonomics, full grip. If they had just done that, like keep the blade length the same, which I get you're trying to do that for, you know, like travel and, you know, take it all over the world. I get that. That would have astronomically improved the carrying ability, the cutting experience, and the leverage that I would have been able to put on the knife. Now, what about the pocket clip? The con is as freaking ginormous. Look at how freaking huge that thing is. The thing is so big, man. I mean, that is a huge, huge pocket clip when we compare it to many other models that are out there of similar size. It is a little flexy too, so it feels a little cheap. It would have been nice to have like double the density. It means that it's going to get over those thicker pants and, you know, pockets and things like that. But if you snag it on something, it's definitely going to go really easy, and then you have to work it back. Another pro that I think a lot of people are missing with the complaining about the pocket clip size is that it is actually one of the more ergonomic pocket clips you're going to find. So that's a positive. What they did was, and was smart. So yes, it's big. Yes, it's kind of obnoxious, going back to kind of like all the branding everywhere. But because of the geometry, it's actually a very well thought out pocket clip. The geometry and the length means that instead of it being shorter and like creating a hot spot on my pinky, it actually encapsulates my two middle fingers, my ring and middle finger right there, goes all the way in front of that so that only my index is really not on the pocket clip. But it actually means that I almost forget that it has a pocket clip. If you've ever done like harder cutting or carving with a pocket knife with a pocket clip, you feel it, you notice it, there's really nothing you can do about it. This is the least hotspot creating pocket clip I have seen in quite a while. So that is a pro to its size and length that a lot of people might overlook at first glance. So what about that last pro before I give you my final thoughts and where this stacks up for me? $70, man. $70 is what I paid for this. And that's awesome. So the value of the materials and what you're getting, before we talk about sizing and all that, is excellent, very competitive. I'll have links popping up over to Knife Center, Blade HQ, my Amazon store, all that stuff. Appreciate it if you do feel like this model or some of the ones I'm about to mention to you makes sense. Always appreciate when you use those hyperlinks. Helps me literally get out there, buy more gear just like this through those little small commissions I earn if you guys make a purchase, regardless if it's this model or anything else. Simple way for you to support the channel as well. Okay, so $70, I think that's a great value for like a new manufactured Taiwanese S35VN. You're going to be paying over $100 to get a new manufactured blade like that most of the time. When I look at this blade, I am not, like, I'm going backpacking this week coming up. This is not going to be my backpacking EDC. If I need a pocket knife that folds, I'm not taking this. It's too small, too compact for what I'm looking for, and the action is just kind of like, Now, if they create in the future a XL version of this, right, like more around 3 1/4, they lengthen out the handle significantly, and then swap out the ball bearings for washers, now we're getting somewhere. I'd probably be a lot more excited. Can keep it under $100. I'm going to be all over that. So it just really has what it feels like is a little, too late. If this had come out 5 or 10 years ago, I think I would have been like, whoa, and it just wouldn't have, been a lot of competition. Now there's so much competition that's kind of like, I mean, I guess, like, not bad, but it's not blowing me away. So I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people that love ESEE, love their Rizulas, and they want a pocket knife, like, sure, okay, like, knock yourself out. I don't know. It's just, I'm going to, 9 out of 10 times, I can't think of a scenario where I'm going to grab this over, say, like, the Yonder series, when I bought that XL especially, a Rat series, or, something else. It's tough for me to find where I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to grab this today. But that's me and my mileage. I want to know from you guys. What's your take? What's your thoughts? Do you agree? Disagree? This is just one guy's opinion hanging out in his backyard and garage telling you about the blade he bought. So, appreciate your time today. Check out the other video. I invite you to subscribe. I'm putting up videos like this every single week. And until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.